It's so bright. It's so bright. There's so many lights. Maybe a few too many. Man, so many lights. I don't know if wait, why did this start? I don't know if I used to use this many lights. I definitely did. They must have been set different. I don't know. It hurts my eyes. It's so bright. I should be wearing sunglasses for this. Oh, good times, good times. Just waiting for the clock to flip over here. It's coming close. Another 15 seconds before we officially start. We got some peoples in the chat already. Hello, Dog Maui Abby and Steve Dories and Limey. Welcome, welcome. And 10 o'clock on the nose. Let the stream begin. So here we are. Here is my game. My head is massive. I should put my head right in the middle of the screen so you can't tell what's going on in the background, because the background really doesn't matter right now. Or does it? I don't know. Probably not. It would matter if we were going to play this game. Oh boy, YouTube is receiving not anything. That's because the only thing that's moving right now, YouTube, is my head. There's nothing happening in the background. I think yeah, you can see the cursor moving on. Maybe it'll make YouTube happy if I just move the mouse back and forth, because that'll make it receive more data, because encoding will have to do all of that garbage. Nobody cares. Okay, let's get on to the actual what we're here for. The game jam. I will actually shrink my head down. I have made some changes to hopefully improve my game. So there were some issues, and we'll talk about these issues. But ayo, look at that. Oh, now we get some map gen errors because there's not water to find. We have a flashlight now, so you can see when you start. That was one of the biggest complaints, was that you couldn't see anything. And now you can, because there's a flashlight. This is actually just the, I want to say walking lights. Yeah, walking lights mod is what I am using here. There is an actual flashlight mod. There is a flashlight mod called Light Tool, I believe, which I wanted to use because that actually takes into account where you're pointing, and it works more like a flashlight rather than this mod, which just pretty much puts a node of light where you are to light the area up. But using that mod, I saw CPU usage jump from 3% up to 31%, just because I was using a flashlight. Whereas this implementation pretty much doesn't do anything as far as CPU usage goes. So that's what I've opted to go for. This is currently pretty much the code from the mod. I'm going to make some modifications to it because I don't particularly like some of the ways some of the things are implemented. But yeah, so now we have a flashlight we can use. This is kind of buggy though, because like when you stand on this bench, the flashlight doesn't do anything because your foot position, or wherever the position is it's calculating from, is within this bench, and we obviously can't put an invisible node here because the bench is here. So yeah, it doesn't really always work, but we can turn the lights on in the room, and then that doesn't even matter. We can do all kinds of fun things. We can inspect items. It gives us chat messages as our readouts, and this just gives you a bunch of different random things. Also, fun. These storage lockers here. Storage lockers? Uniform lockers? Whatever you would want to call them. It shows up as two different nodes, a left and a right, but they are actually, in fact, one mesh. And when you place it, it places both, and then it places an invisible node on the other half. That way you can inspect both halves of it individually. Now, a fun little bit here, you can just keep re-inspecting the same thing, and you'll find different stuff in it. So I did have a lot of fun writing up all of the different inspection reports, not inspection reports. I don't know what you would call them. The different, when you inspect things, what you can find. So, for example, here are these lockers. We have cool, a bottle of water. Aw, it's already opened. No way, this guy has a toothbrush and toothpaste in his locker. Wow, these are nice safety glasses. Oh, looks like a prescription pair. And then we have the toothpaste again. It just randomly picks them. So for some unknown reason, it's really liking the toothpaste and the bottle of water one. Hey, some shoes. They look pretty new too, but clearly have been worn. Toothpaste again, safety glasses again with toothpaste, bottle of water. There's a whole bunch. I don't know why it just really likes those. So there's a bunch of stuff you can inspect. Pretty much. Can you inspect? Oh, you can't inspect the exit sign. I forgot to do that. You can inspect the light switches. Looks like a standard light switch to me. There's a low chance this could be wired wrong and will electrocute me if I touch it. Technically, that is actually impossible for a plastic-bodied light switch. Running at 120 volts, standard household, 20 amp. This is probably actually a 15 amp. But either way, the chances of that being wired wrong enough where touching the plastic would cause the electricity to arc through and electrocute you, it's pretty much zero. So you don't really have to worry about that. Here we go. This is my favorite one. This looks an awful lot like an 1815 amp white rocker single pole residential light switch. Odd that it's being used in an industrial setting. That's the model number that I modeled this off of. Just a little hidden goodies there. You can also report a bunch of stuff. If you can't report or pick them up, they're highlighted in red, which is quite nice, I think. You can use it. Obviously, it just using it toggles the lights on and off. Or you can just punch things. That's not really explained anywhere, but you can punch things, and that just is a quick way to call the on-use function. So that's kind of neat. We can inspect the benches here. I could use one of these in my gym. I sure could. You could park a truck on this and it wouldn't break. I think this one only has two. We can also pick this up, but you actually can't. It just says, ain't no way this is budging. And I think that's the only one it gives you. You also can't report this, but now you can report the lockers, which that gives you some fun stuff. I was going to originally do a bunch of voice talent for these, and I was going to be the dude on the other end of the walkie-talkie, so all of the report responses would have been me talking. So I'll just read some of these off because some of these are pretty fun. Where did you think employees would keep their stuff? Just dump it on the floor? You are aware that we have lockers in the office too. That's not so terribly unusual. See if there's anything in them. Initially, there was going to be a key card that you could find in one of the lockers that you would need to open a door, but I ran out of time. And also, that just felt really annoying to have to go through and look at every single locker to find a key card. So we did away with that. You can report a door. Oh, this is so good. So the way the code works, these are all just done in callbacks in the node. And if you don't explicitly give options for chat messages, it just pulls them from a big list for the report ones. So some of them where it wouldn't make any sense, like reporting a door. They're just this list of like 30 snarky responses, and man, I've so wanted to do the voice talent for them because they're so good. I used Chat GPT, and I just said, hey, give me a list of 25 snarky answers. And it did, and then it gave me some stupid, don't use snarky responses because people could misinterpret them. I'm like, I don't care. I want it for a video game, dude. So let me read some of these snarky answers that ChatGPT gave me. So we have, I'm sorry, did I roll my eyes out loud? Some people bring joy wherever they go. You bring joy whenever you leave. Do you have a black belt in stupidity? Are you always this slow, or are you making a special effort today? It is what it is. Man, so many good answers. Oh, and right here we see the first of our little security droids. They just bonk themselves back and forth against the walls. They don't use any kind of pathfinding or anything like that. They're just dumb old, hit the wall and bounce off of it. I think there's something broke with these guys. They're supposed to... Okay, no, never mind. They're working. They do kind of get stuck in these little cubbies, which is an issue. More so an issue, and a lot of them are trying to come out at once. So that needs some work. Currently, when they spawn, they just go in, I think, -X. Wait, they go... Ah, yeah, I thought they go in X. Which would be facing this way. Which works for these, but there's some that are in holes elsewhere. Basically, we just walk down here. This is all just dead space that nothing exists in, although there is a little docking... Oh, but you can inspect the docking stations. I forgot that. Let me turn the lights on. So we have lights all over the place that you can turn on, which is pretty nice. We can inspect the little docking station. We can inspect. And it just says, looks to be some sort of docking station. And when we right-click on this, I guess sometimes it'll put that out. We can report this. A robot vacuum docking station? Probably nothing to worry about. Pick up, and then you can't actually pick it up. It just says, I don't really need this. Initially, you were going to be able to pick stuff up because you were going to need things to solve stuff. But again, 3 weeks, I had more plans than I could make happen. One of my favorite aspects is the bathroom. Yes, the glorious bathroom dividers are just the steel girders that hold up roofs. And there are no amenities in the bathroom, save for the countertop and the sink. Bunch of these little guys, just try to avoid them. If they bump into you, they trigger an alarm and it'll send out the assassin drones. So we try to avoid those. And then we come over here and we have the actual puzzles with some more. Let me actually turn on... No, let me just turn on the individual light. Every time you interact with a light switch, so you toggle on or off, you're raising the alert level. Every X amount of alert levels, some new of these little cleaning drones will pop out. And they're really doing a terrible job right now. I don't know why they're doing so poorly. They're supposed to bounce off of a wall and then pretty much invert their direction with a small bit of randomness. And they're just doing a horrible job. Like, whatever. But anyways, so we have a little puzzle here. This is actually... Yeah, can you maybe leave? Because I'm trying to explain how this works. Yeah, no, let's not hit me. Because that'd be bad. All right, so this is... Yeah, we good now. This is quite fun. I rather like this. We can inspect it. It says, just touch fancier than my old Commodore 64. We can report it. It says, that'd be the control panel to control the robot. Or for the robot, whatever. But anyways... This is my favorite part. The form spec that still shows the top half of it. This took me a while, but only a very little while, to figure out how to make work. Because what I wanted was that you could still mostly see the puzzle. Oh, he's losing some speed. You can mostly see the puzzle while you had the form here open. So if we go and stand in like the corner here, we can see this is where the robot spawns from. This is where we need to get it to. The arrow always points north. So we'll just throw a couple norths in, and then we need to go west. So we'll throw 3 wests in, and I'll throw in some more norths, and we'll just run it. I'm going to actually close that just to make sure I can keep an eye on this little guy. Ayo! Huzzah! The robot made it to the end. Now, in retrospect... These puzzles should have been designed slightly differently because we're trying to get this package right. So if we just run this... Oh, wait. This one I can't reach. This was a mistake. You can hop over the wall, though. It says, I don't think this is the unit we want. Which, as soon as you find that out, you kind of know all the rest of the puzzles. So I should have made these railings so you couldn't jump over them. Kashula Gamer, no, I don't think I know you. Should I know you? I should have made these railings so you couldn't jump over them, but could still reach over them. And then the puzzle should have all been starting in the further corner, ending or at least coming to the closer side. So you'd at least have to move the robot towards you in order to be able to click on it. Oops. Oh well. So we have that one, which is just really basic. And I say it's really basic because you can literally go however you want to get there, as long as you don't drive off the edge, of course. Whereas this one, it's a little more challenging because you have to follow the path. It's still pretty simple. I mean, you're just giving it directions to drive in. Although I will say this, doing this whole giving it directions to drive in thing was a bit of a pain. So this is really like the first time I've ever dealt with entities moving. I've used entities, well, I've done like made mobs for mobs redo, but that's already using an API that handles all of the movement and everything, whereas I had to do all the movement myself for this. So, and have a method of taking the cards that we're putting here and putting them into the robot's memory and then making it follow that path. That took a little while, but here was something that gave me an issue. So we need to go east, 4 steps here. Oh, I should have put a south in there. Okay, so this guy is gonna, yeah, you can do this too. They'll bump into each other, and then he'll knock that one off, and it messes things up. But it clears the pathway. They do explode. Yeah. I mean, you gotta have something happen, you know? Anyway, the issue I was having was I move these by setting the velocity in whichever direction they need to go. And then every second, it looks at the list of instructions and sets velocity to the next direction. So in this case, we are setting velocity east at 1. And then 1 second later, we set it to the same. There's got to be something in there. Let me actually double check the code. Am I setting the velocity or am I using move to? I feel like if I was setting the velocity, it would just keep going. I am just setting the velocity. Maybe it just, velocity stops? I mean, technically, there's drag and everything. I don't know, but that's how it works. Okay. Trouble was, setting a velocity of 1 and then running another command 1 second later isn't actually exactly 1 second later because of how entities work in on step and D time. You do addition to hit the number 1 and then you call the next step. But when you hit the number 1, you're not actually hitting the number 1. It could be like a couple milliseconds off. Microseconds, I don't know how much of a second, but a small fraction of a second off. So I was running into issues where I would do this and it would move 4 spaces to the east, but it wouldn't really be a full 4 spaces to the east. It'd be offset by just a little bit. And when you got to these longer puzzles, it became a bigger issue because now suddenly it's not sitting in the center of the node where it's supposed to. I had to do this hacky thing where every second, I guess I should say, that's as often as the entity's updating is once a second. I had to get the position and then run a, let's just pull the code up here. Can I even do that? I feel like if I pull this up, it's pulling up the wrong window. Oh, and there's a little halo above me. That's neato. Let me pull up the screen we want here. This is this. Yeah, okay. And I'm going to have to make the text larger, which I think scroll and mouse wheel does. Yep. Okay. And then let me just close this out so that the text is all, there we go. Here we go. On step. So this is what controls the robot. So we use this self-node timer thing here so that the code actually only executes once every second, allegedly. But we're getting this time by adding D time to it. D time fluctuates a little bit. I mean, it's very minimal, but in a case like this, it does matter. And so every 60 seconds, this is a fractional number. So it is once it equals 1 second, it runs this code. and then it resets the number to 0, and then it starts adding to it again. So it gets a little off. So we do this vector rounding here, self object to get position. So this could be, we'll just say, 0, 0, 0 is where the entity is. But it could actually be like 0.0001 and 0.99987. And, well, actually, that one always stays the same because that's your elevation. But anyways, it could be a little bit off. So we just have to do this hack where we vector round every second, get the position, make it so it aligns with the world, and then set the node to that position, which is just fantastic. It's so great that that's the way you have to do it. But for something like this, it works. You can't tell that it's happening unless you look at the code, of course. Or I tell you that that's what's happening. So that took me a while to figure out. Although I will say vector round makes it so much easier than having to do it the old-fashioned way, which would have been to get the position, then break the position into the x, y, and z coordinates, and then do a math min and a math max operation on both of those, which I assume in the background is what's happening here, but it's only one line instead of like 7 lines. So I'll take it. And then, yeah, we're just setting the velocity. The velocity is from the sequence and the step number, and we basically just move that. And then we check if the node below the robot is the end of the path, which is actually done with the group because there's 2 different path types. And then if it is, you made it to the end, we do the little fireworks thing. We play the little, there's a little sound someplace I thought we play. I don't know why I don't see that. Oh, you know what? That might be in this fireworks code. And then we shoot it up to the sky. We set self-step to 99, which basically just prevents... So what you can do, let's jump back and do this. We're going to close this one out and run back over here because this one's just easier to demonstrate it with. You can go north. We'll go north, north, and then we'll go west, 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 and then we'll just put a bunch of norths in. Like, that's way more north than we need, right? It is, by the way. But by setting the step number to 99... Oh, you know what? I didn't change this. Let me change this real quick. Here we go. Sorry about that. Forgot I don't have an automatic screen changer on. So we're going north. We're going west. So now we're at this north. Now we're at this north. And then we still have all of these norths left. But... because, let me put this back to the code here, because we are setting the step number to 99, there's only a maximum of, I'm looking at the wrong robot here, by the way. There's a better level robot that gives you more steps. Or maybe wait, what? The one's only supposed to do 30 steps. Interesting. Is this this should be the level 1 robot. Yeah. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter either way, other than this could have crashed the game. Well, actually, could this have crashed the game? I don't know if it could have, because it does have a check here. This should only be 31, though, because you're only allowed 30 cards in the low-level robot. But we set the step number to 99, which is the sequence that the robot travels in. So with it set to 99, and we try to reference number 99 in a table that only has 30 items, it references nothing. So because it references nothing, the robot just doesn't move anymore, which is great because you don't really want the robot, when it's being shot up from the air cannon, to keep driving around. It's kind of, it's not really what you want. Additionally, if instead of the node below it being the path end rather, is air, we just drop the robot to the ground, we cause an explosion. We do the same thing, we set the step to 99 so you can't drive the robots on the floor. We don't really want that being able. And then if you hit the bottom of the puzzle areas is called the void. And if the robot touches that, the robot gets vaporized, and that's when we actually have the explosion happen. And then we have collision stuff here. This is just basically, if the robot hits a robot, we bump the robot, we do things. If it hits a node, it just stops and says the robot hit a node. Initially, the plan was to have 3 tiers of robots, and the second tier would have some way of moving nodes and maybe picking nodes up. Didn't have the time to implement that, so oh yeah, and we were setting like a broken robot, but I think I ended up just having them sit there by themselves. And then we have the on punch and on right click. Now, unfortunately, this in the game had an error. I forgot something in one of these local names, so it crashed every time you would right click, which is terrible. But that's what happens when you do a game jam around Christmas time and you're hosting a Christmas party and you have to help with decorating and food preparation, because otherwise you're just a horrible person. Especially when I was one that was like, oh yeah, let's host a Christmas party, let's invite all these people over, and then to be like, oh sorry, I can't help with any of the decorations or the preparations, they got a stupid game jam to work on. No, that wouldn't fly, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the day that was dedicated to the final playthrough, which was Monday I was going to do all my testing. It ended the 24th. So it was Monday the 18th. The 18th was my deadline, actually, because Christmas party on the 22nd, and I needed the week to help out with the party. So that was my deadline. So I actually had 2 weeks, not the 3 weeks. But I digress. So yeah, I was going to do a playthrough on that Monday to make sure everything was working, look for any final bugs. I ended up being at work for 14 hours. So needless to say, I never did a final playthrough to check for bugs, which is how we missed that bug. Whoopsies. But yeah, here we go. So you can get in here. Now, I had somebody in the reviews on the content database saying that you can fall into these and get stuck, which I don't know if that's actually true. Now, if you didn't turn the lights on, it would be very easy to think that you were stuck, because you wouldn't be able to tell that there's pathways that join these together. I do need to check. Do any of these have a hole in the middle where you could actually get stuck? I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure on every single level here. Yeah, there's no... Oh, wait. You could actually get stuck. If you were dumb and jumped in there, you would actually be stuck. I suppose I could have not put the 2 nodes here in, these bottom 2, so that you could have snuck out through there, because these sections do all actually interconnect, and there's a ladder, so you can in fact get out if you fell in. I did try to think of things, because I knew somebody would end up jumping in there. Clearly I just didn't think that somebody would jump into that. And I don't know if that's where they got stuck. Maybe it is, and it's actually my fault, and there was no way they could get out. But yeah, without the flashlight, and if you didn't have these lights turned on, you wouldn't know that there's passageways that connect them. So I get that. Continuing along, there was going to be a doorway here, and that you had to get something from these, I don't know what, to allow you to get into the further section. But yeah, that didn't happen. So, oh wait, does this breaks on steps? Okay, yeah, see, this needs some work. It breaks on steps too. It should be looking at the node position higher, which would be here. Unfortunately, when you start the game and you're in the venting, it's looking at a position 1 node above you, which doesn't work because the venting is only a 1 node opening. So that's why I changed this one. So I'll have to change around some more. I'll have to actually probably look at the eye position and do some kind of calculation based on that. We got somebody saying, man, my parents would drag me out to help them for Christmas. They won't ask me. They would demand. Yeah, well, it's a little different when you're the parent, when you're the adult, it's like, I don't really have an option. I invited people over, I can't just be like, oh, hey guys, glad you could show up. Yeah, we didn't make as much food as we should have, and we didn't clean, and we didn't decorate because I was working on a dumb game jam because I thought maybe I could win $150. So it's a little different when you're the adult and you're hosting the party than being a child of the adult that's hosting the party. I didn't have any excuses, man. I had to do it. All right, so let me go to tier 2. These do have some sounds now. I have desktop audio muted though, so you can't hear them. But I did find something to work for the little push button switches. Oh, by the way, you can inspect these too. It says it probably turns on high bay lighting, which in fact, it does turn on the high bay lighting and the high bay lighting out here as well. I am actually, if I can just brag a little bit on my own work, these steel girder, I don't know what they're actually called. I am quite fond of them. I really like how that worked out. So if I cheat a little bit and just do grant me fly, so we can go up and look at these. This is one singular node, and we will see here param 2, which is the rotation in this case, is 1 on this one and 3 on this one, and then it goes back to 1 and goes back to 3. So this is just the same node as this one, but it's rotated around 180 degrees. And I made it so when these nodes were placed, you place it here, and it would place 20, 30, I forget how many, some amount, automatically in a row, and it flipped the rotation on it for you. So you just placed one and it put the whole line out with the inverted rotation. It's quite nice, I must say. Rather proud of it. I've actually wanted to make those for forever, and this was finally like the first instance where I needed them. So yeah, I made them because I wanted to make it for forever because they're cool, man, you know? A lot of these models, actually the entirety of these models, I believe, will be available for download shortly. I just need to go through the blend file and clean up some naming things because right now it's a bit of a mess. So I just need to get that fixed, and then these will all be available to download. And I might make another version of these yellow rails. Okay, so there is a potential bug that I need to report. I don't know if it's actually a bug or not. These, as you can tell, are round. I, just did round things because I felt like it, Well, shadows for some reason do not work on these at all. Now, because everything is in a building, I wasn't too worried about it for the game because there would never be any shadows that you would see this, but they just go all kinds of crazy and show on the wrong spots. And like from one end of one piece to the next one, they don't even line up. So I don't know what was going on there. And for a short while, I was considering turning them back into squares because squares didn't give any issues. Also, interestingly enough, 5.7 didn't have the problem, but 5.8, or at the time 5.7 dev, did. So I feel like it might be a regression. So I'll probably have to file a bug report on that at some point. But for this, it didn't matter because no sunlight would hit it, so you'd never have shadows. So yeah. But yeah, I might make another version of these and throw it in the furniture library that I have and just make them square ones because I feel like people would probably be happier with square ones than round ones. Also, these, there's no way to tell, is there? Maybe there is. The seams, or I shouldn't say the seams, where the mesh ends actually isn't in the node space. On the, I can't tell which it is. On the upper one, it's shifted over to the one side, and the lower one shifted to the other side. Just to make the seams and the textures not as noticeable, because this isn't actually a repeating texture at all. Oh, hey, we can inspect the rail. Nothing of interest here. That's all it says. You're unable to take this item. I can report it. Just when I think you couldn't let me down more, you surprise me. Yeah, what are you reporting a railing for, bro? But yeah, just a little trick there so you can't see the texture seams. Anyway, we go on to these, and we have a different floor now. And Same thing, but now we get diagonals, which for this one you don't specifically need the diagonals, but on, is it this one? I think it's this one. In order to solve it, you actually do need to use the diagonals. Also, you get more slots. The slider, this took way too long to make work, and I honestly don't know why. There was all kinds of jank going on with this. I don't know what made it work, because I don't know why it didn't work. Stuff was just not lining up at all. And unfortunately, I use the form spec editor game quite a bit to make form specs, which is so nice because you can just put your code in and it automatically, as soon as you save it, it just updates in the game. Makes it so easy. But it doesn't work for inventories at all because there are no inventories. So it can't display an inventory because an inventory doesn't exist. So I couldn't use the form spec editor for this. So I just had to keep opening and relaunching the world. Eventually, it works. So we can, helps if we're up at the top. So we can do this, and we can just fill it up with nonsensical stuff. We can run it, and it'll die instantly. Oh, we blew up. Now this one is still our little robot here. Oh, I should mention, I'm sure nobody cares about this, but I should mention this. Let me just clear all of this out. I should have made a clear all button. That would have been smart, actually. Oh well. I didn't really intend for people to do dumb stuff like I just did. I think we need that to go west to exist. Yeah, okay. So this one, yes, you can jump into here. Nick Blackson says, you look very much like my uncle. Probably not your uncle though, bro. Okay. Maybe this little robot right here. I'm probably dating myself. This is based off of, loosely, albeit, based off of a tank from the critically acclaimed, I don't know if it's critically acclaimed or not, game Wild Metal Country, made by Rockstar Games. It's quite old, but it actually still does work on Windows. I think I have a Windows 10 machine that I use for some hardware that, unfortunately, I can't use on Linux. So I have to have a Windows machine to use it. The game still works. There are some graphical issues, but it still works. It's still just as much fun as when it was created. I don't know if you can actually still download it legally, anyways. For a while, Rockstar Games had it available to download, but that page doesn't seem to exist anymore. However, there are websites like My Abandonware, not to encourage piracy or anything, of course, but there are websites that do still offer it for download, and I don't know if it's technically piracy to download it when they did offer it for free at one point. So yeah, that little tank and this tank are both very heavily inspired from the tanks from that game. So yeah, just a little tidbit for anybody that maybe saw the tanks and was like, hey man, those kind of look familiar. That would be why, because they're inspired from Wild Metal Country. Okay, nobody cared about that. Originally, there was going to be possible to there was going to be a lot more challenging to the puzzles than just moving. There were going to be obstacles. Like on this one, these black spots are the void, so you can't travel on top of these. So you have to find other ways around. And then you do have to use their diagonals there. Now, of course, because you can jump over the railing, it's possible to just do this, which, I should have realized people would just do that and made it impossible to jump the railing and made it so that you had to actually work the robot over to here to click on it, which, in fact, in order to click on it, you do have to do that because, or here, you could reach it here as well, but you couldn't reach it from back there because your reach range is quite short to, what's that, maybe 4 nodes-ish? I'm guessing 4 nodes. Yeah, 4 nodes. So, yeah, but of course if you just jump the rail, you can do it really easily. So that was my bad. I should have made it so you couldn't jump these. Oh well, you live and learn, I suppose. Anyway, so same thing here, you know, you're just doing the puzzle and then you pick it up. Now in the game at the time, there was no inventory screen, there was no hotbar here because I didn't have a flashlight, so none of that was necessary. So the item doesn't actually go into your inventory at all. It's just a flag set in code saying, hey, you have the object. Also, that I thought was supposed to trigger the alarm system, which would make the assassin drones come out. So I don't know if I made a mistake here or what exactly happened, because that should have happened, I thought. Although the alarm is based off of the player position. So it is possible where I wasn't close enough to any of the docking stations for anything to actually spawn out of them. Oh, the little cafeteria. It's got some little Roombas in there going around. For anybody asking when there's sounds for the robots when they hit walls, we don't actually have any Roombas or any of those things, so I can't. Oh no, wait, what? Excuse me, but what? That shouldn't have happened because there was no assassin drone. And now if we play the game, this also I should have done initially. It kicks you and it bans you now, which is good because if we go in here, wait, what in the world is all of this? We've got some big issues. Oh, this was my test environment where I have some items. Ayo, it just placed me someplace and I think I'm falling to my death now. Oh wait, no it's not. I need to no clip out. There we go. And then we just need to do it times 6,000. This is where I was doing things to test stuff out. So we have, oh yeah, and that's right, I had to do some hacky stuff. So this was so irksome. Let me grab myself a flashlight. Oh, I have a flashlight. Good. So using, this was built a lot with World Edit, and then using, what was it called? ModGen, I think, to place the world out. When it places the world, the lighting, for some reason, is jacked up. So if I go back and make a new world, the name really doesn't matter, as long as it doesn't already exist, and we just run through this real quick, I can show you this problem. And it only happened in some areas, which made me really not understand what was going on. So if we come down here and we run over here, these lights should be off. Okay, it's pitch black, right? But if we do time 6,000, oh wait, now it's not going to do it, of course. Oh, because I don't have the privilege. Grant me to set time 6,000. Okay, it still's not doing it. Interesting. Well, I had this issue where the ends of these hallways would be lit up from like ambient light, which they shouldn't be because there's no way for ambient light to get in there. This seems to be an example of it though. Like this whole area is lit up, but as we look, these lights are all turned off. The closest light that's on is way over there and this one right here. So what I ended up doing is a little hacky. Hey, there we go. That's what we're supposed to have. So there is a bit of code that runs every minute. And that code pretty much heals the player. And, well, now it helps out too because the assassin drones, instead of just killing you instantly, which I don't know why I died instantly that last round because I shouldn't have, they take some of your health, and they also slow you down. So you walk slower the more times you get hit, which I feel like is a little more intuitive. It's like you're being tranquilized. They're giving you a little shot of a tranquilizer to make it easier for, the actual people, guards, to come and scoop you up because you can't run away now. So I believe it's every minute. It might be every minute and a half this code runs. It sets the world time to 0, because if you set time speed, which I could have done as well, but that jacks up everything for everything else, because that's a global setting, not just a world setting. So then every other game now, time doesn't change, which is pretty uncool, because people don't want necessarily time to not change. Hey, there we go. Time just set to 0. So now it's nighttime, and it fixes the lighting issue. So yeah, when you start the game, it sets time to 0, and then every minute and a half, whatever it is, it resets the time to 0 so that hallways stay dark. It was the dumbest thing, but that's what you have to do sometimes. When you're working with an engine that doesn't always want to, do what it's supposed to do, you just got to get a little janky. So yeah, let me run back over, pick up the robot we need. I'm just going to flip on some lights here I should have just turned the hallway light on. That would have been a lot easier. Would have made a lot more sense. Let me just run down to the end here and do that. A lot of stuff back end that you never see in the finished game. Oh, hey, we got a drone there. That you never see. That was quite fun. Hey, we got some drones here. I don't know why these lights aren't kicking on instantly like they should. Now, because it is a fresh world, these are empty again. Previously, that was definitely a my mistake thing. When you died, you could just go right back into the world, and all of the puzzles were already solved for you because you had already solved them. That wasn't really how that was supposed to work. I thought picking that up was supposed to make these guys trigger out a killer drone, assassin drone. Okay, these I was going to do pathfinding on, but it took way too long to figure out how to do it, so I just didn't bother doing it. And now, after I figured out how to do pathfinding, I found out, wow, this actually doesn't work at all, so I'm not doing pathfinding. So this is not pathfinding. The killer drones essentially just see if you are within 15 nodes of them, and if they are, they change their direction to drive towards you. I had to do a little extra here so that they don't just float up, because otherwise they would float into the air. Which, the first time I was like, what's going on? Why are these things like airborne? And then I realized, oh, because they are. So I had to change that. They do still sometimes get stuck in corners. I don't know why. Like these guys are both stuck in corners. Eventually, that'll be changed so that they're not. I'm going to have this guy spawn a new one so I can get hit again. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm a little bit slower. Every time you get hit, you lose 0.2 of your max speed. They are following me. I don't think they can make it upstairs, though, so they'll just go back to their random driving around. And I think this is far enough away where these shouldn't have done anything. So it just sits here and nothing. Excellent. I'm walking really slow because I've been heavily drugged, but the drugs do wear off. I don't know if would those be sedatives? Whatever kind of drugs they throw in tranquilizers. I mean, I guess at some point they have to wear off, right? Because, otherwise how would you ever be untranquilized? Do they have to give you a different drug to counter? I don't know. I am not a doctor or somebody that does anything with tranquilizers. Not on people, anyways. So I wouldn't know. But yeah, they must wear off. So anyway, I don't know. Come up with whatever backstory you want. Maybe the regulatory agencies that be. I don't know why a company would necessarily care about regulatory agencies, but maybe the regulatory agencies that be say that you can only have X amount of the tranquilizer in the thing. I don't know. I'm just coming up with stuff. There we go. We retrieve the package, and then it kicks you. And then hopefully I'm banned. Yep, so you can't go back in, so you actually have to replay the game. That should have been implemented into the Game Jam edition, but oops, didn't happen. Now, I think... Okay. Yeah, so I can now... Oh, this is going to be annoying because it's going to keep changing the time. I never fixed this. Oh, that's rich. That's rich. I'm going to change some code real quick here. Let's actually take a quick look at some of this code. All right, so we have, if we go to the... This might be a smidge big. Let me make it a little smaller. Here we go. So on player join, we set minimap to false. If you do want to get rid of the player inventory, this would have been helpful for some of the other games who didn't do this. You literally just need to do Minetest register on join player, player set inventory form spec to an empty string, end. 3 lines, and you get rid of an inventory. Literally, that's all you have to do. But some people didn't do that. Maybe they didn't know. Now you know. So here we go. Function heal. It's after every minute. It will... I don't know why I even bothered checking the breath, because there's nothing you can suffocate in this game. I think I actually just copied this code out of a different one of my games. But, yeah, so that... And I don't know about the max HP. I don't think... Oh, no, yeah, I did actually need that. Because, technically I didn't. I could have just... Max HP is 20. I could have just checked for 20 rather than doing all of this. I would have made it a little more performant, I suppose. But yeah, so it increases your max HP by 1 till you hit 20. And then your speed, if the old speed is less than or equal to 2.8, it'll add 0.2 to it, which will put your speed back up to 1, which is your standard speed. And that runs every 60 seconds. I thought that also... Where does the time change happen? Doesn't... It obviously happened someplace. Where? There's something that happens, and it sets the time. I don't know what that actually is running in. Oh. Wait, so this is... It sets the time to 0 at intro. It has to be doing this elsewhere, too. I don't know where I snuck that in. Did I put that into I put it in something. I don't know what. Oh, did I put in the boss anger? No, I didn't put it here. So here's another little thing. If you just go around and start reporting a whole bunch of stupid stuff, every time you report something, your boss, the guy on the other end of the radio, he gets a little madder at you. And if you hit a certain point, he remotely arms the system and triggers the alarm. And he gives you these messages pretty much warning you, hey, stop being an idiot and reporting stuff that you don't need to report. I don't know if anybody ever seen any of that happen, but there's a cooldown to that, so the boss slowly gets less and less angry over time. So, oh, yeah, here we go. Add a set time function to cooldown to keep it night. There we go. So this runs every 30 seconds. No, wait, runs every 2 minutes. 30 seconds after the server starts, it runs once. And then every 2 minutes, it runs again. And that's where it's setting the time of day to 0. So that's that. Our ceiling support thing, nobody really cares about that. I think that was really the only thing here to look at. So now I needed to... What did I come over here to change? Oh, we came over here to change the time of day line. Remove that. That way it won't change on us, because that'd be annoying. All right, let's give this a shot now. Okay, so it still starts me off at this position. I just threw a bathroom sign. And I'm still nice and slow. So when you start, you're slower because you're crawling inside of the ducting. You know, makes sense. Let's see if we can, there we go. It's daylight, nice. So you start slower because you're in the ductwork. You can only crawl. Basically, I just changed the player physics and the player collision box size. So that way you fit inside of the ductwork in just a simple 1x1 square. Just like this. And then you have the vent, which the vent, when placed, do I have a vent? I don't have a vent. That's bogus. Don't I have a vent? I don't have a vent out here. Okay. Well, I've got a bunch of vents here. So when the vent is placed, it automatically picks the position 3 nodes below itself to where it's going to put you, because that's essentially where you need it to go. But it's also configurable. Of course, this only applies to anybody that's building a level. Just punching it with the wrench. Where should the player be teleported to? We can save it. We can discard it. I just want to get my physics fixed. So there we go. Excellent. Got all these unknown nodes. Our little testing floor for robots to drive around and just boink into each other. Hey, come on and boink me. There we go. We got some killer droids. They're heading my way. That's an issue. Those guys, interesting. Because I'm far enough away. Oh, did they fall to the ground now? I think they fell to the ground now. Yeah, okay. No, wait, they didn't. You guys are supposed to fall to the ground. Well, that's definitely something that needs to be changed. Here we go. So they're all trying to get to me, which is good. That's what they're supposed to do. But am I safe up here then? I guess not really. Well, if I'm in the air, I'll be safe. So the little robot controllers here, you have the start position, which if you punch that node, it'll tell you the node's position. I think it actually tells you the position above itself. I can't remember. But it doesn't matter because that position, you need to configure this. So we just configure it. It's already configured correctly. Punch the number in, we save it. And that way when we punch this normally, i.e. without the wrench, it'll spawn, or well, it'll show us the form spec and then spawn the robot for us. The lights to turn on and off, all you had to do is run around, punch them all with the wrench. The reach distance was a lot further initially. This is quite short. And then the light switch, you want to control them, and then we would just overwrite, and it puts in the light positions. We save it, we exit it, and then when we punch it without the wrench, it toggles the lights. Berenas. I don't know why these ones are taking time to toggle on. That's kind of weird. It could have something to do with these guys all trying to get me. As you can tell, we can have multiple switches controlling the same lights, which is nice. Is that the best method of flipping lights on and off? I don't know. Basically, it's just... Oh, another little... Do I have a switch for these guys? I'm sure I do someplace, but I'll just throw another one in. Oh, but I don't have a switch on me. That's a shame. These lights, when you toggle them on... Oh, that's the World Edit Wand. They place a secondary light node 6 nodes below them, 7 nodes below them. I forget what the distance was that I ended up using. So that way it actually lights up these big areas. So as if you just have the light up here, once we're down to the ground level here, this might be a little lower than it actually ended up being. There's not enough light on the ground. So it places an invisible light node that you can walk through. And that makes that work. So yeah, that's that. And that's basically it, I think. As far as the game goes. Future plans? Well, fix these robots so that they fall to the ground, because that's kind of annoying. Get a better flashlight implemented so that we can walk around and go on stairs and have the light not flick out on us. Or when you're standing on the locker bench thing. That would be good. Getting better puzzles, because right now it doesn't really do much, but it would be cool if, you could have an obstacle that this guy needs to shoot through. I don't know exactly how I would handle that, though, because right now it's just a table of positions. Well, actually, it's not even that. It's a table of... I take that all back. It's an array of velocities that controls the robots. So if I wanted to make the robot shoot or pick up an item or place an item, I kind of have to rework the entire system that controls the robots here, which I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so that's basically everything you need to know about the game, or that there is to know about the game. Some of the downfalls, pitfalls, problems, I don't know what we want to call them specifically, that I ran into. Well, there was definitely one big problem. Let me pull up the code here. This didn't make any sense to me. Where is it? Here we go. So we have this, where is it? This move to, which is an API, whatever you want to call it, a function, I guess. And according to the documentation, it says, and I quote, move to, we need a position, and then we have an optional option, an optional option. I sound like a real genius saying that. We have an optional variable, I guess, that we pass to it of continuous equals either false or equals true. And that is supposed to, according to the API, does an interpolated move for Lua entities for visually smooth transitions. If continuous is true, the Lua entity will not be moved to the current position before starting the interpolated move. For players, this does the same, blah, blah, blah. No op if an object is attached. Okay, well, I don't care about any of that. I did continuous equals true, and I did continuous equals false. Zero change. I eliminated the continuous equals because I'm pretty sure that actually is not supposed to be there, and it's just supposed to either be true or false. Again, no change. So I had... Do I have any of that code left? I don't know if I do. This would have been for the drones, and this was for the assassin drone. Okay, so this is this... Okay, no, I just eliminated all of that entirely. So a couple days ago, I did pathfinding, which pathfinding, let me find that. That is, what is it called? Okay, well, it's not called pathfinding in the documentation, so that's great. Is it find path, maybe? There we go, find path. Okay, so Minetest.findPath takes a handful of variables. Position 1, position 2. Position 1 will be where the object is, position 2 where it's trying to get to. Search distance, max jump, max drop, and the algorithm to use. None of that really matters. I gave it the 2 positions. I basically searched for single player, got their position. The robot knew its own position. So I just have those 2 positions, gave it the maximum distance, the jump drop, whatever. Returns a table containing paths that can be walked on. Okay, this is true. Returns a table of 3 points representing a path from position 1 to position 2 or nil on failure. Okay, that also worked great. Everything there works as it should. So then I used that path data and used... this one doesn't have a move to position. I don't even know why the clean position exists here, because I don't actually need that. Oh, I'm using it for this, but I probably don't have to. Anyway, so using the move to and the data from this table, it would just jump from one location to the next. It had no interpolation between position to position. And furthermore, we have this automatic face movement direction, which in the running code, I'll just pull it back up here, we can see more so with the tanks here than we can with the little guys on the ground, because they're the same in all 4 directions. The direction they're moving in is the direction they're pointing. So, it looks like they're actually driving the right direction, Yeah, well, when you're using Move 2, it does not rotate, or at least it didn't for me. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, or if the code is just jacked and they're lying to me about what this code does, because it didn't do that. So it would just stay pointing whatever direction it was pointing. It would just jerkily move, 1 node every second. There was no interpolation between it. I don't know if that's my fault. I don't know if it's a bug. I don't know. The only place I knew of to look, and I suppose there are others too that I could look. I looked at 10+1's mob redo, and there's like a gajillion functions he had to write. Not really a gajillion, but there's quite a few. He had to do his own set yaw implementation to make the entities actually rotate to face towards the next direction in the table of positions, which there is a. Oh, actually, I'm using it. If we go here, yeah. So we have. That's not it. Here we go. Yes, I love my variable names, perhaps. So this is the assassin drone, and it's looking for the player. This is kind of a bad way to do it. I'm just hard coding to single player, but the game's only available in single player, so doesn't really matter. Probably not. It could obviously give you an error, but whatever. So we get the player position. We do the vector distance between the player and the assassin drone. If the distance is less than or equal to 15, we do a vector direction of the player position, I guess the robot position and the player position, and then we set the velocity. Here we're setting y to 0 because I don't want it moving up or down, just, north, south, east, and west. And then we just set the velocity to the direction, and that seems to work just fine. The robot rotates to point towards you. Everything. Now, the issue, of course, is that you can do things like this, which are not necessarily fantastic. Come on, let me punch that. There we go. So now we have the downside of I can get one of these guys. Here we go. So I can literally just, stand behind the little docking station here, and it won't hit me because I'm essentially behind an object and it doesn't know how to get around it because it's not using pathfinding. It's literally just trying to face straight towards me. Now, of course, because when they hit an object, they'll bounce off of it with random rotation. Eventually, or when they hit each other, eventually it'll work its way around to the object if it's just a single object. Now, if I do something... Oh, I only had one of those? Well, that's an issue. I forget. I don't have creative here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something different about that. Woo! I just really don't want another one to spawn out. Oh, great. Because if another one spawns out... Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's a ton of them. And every time I punch one, it spawns more. So I can't even break them. But anyways, if you just stood behind a wall or behind the railing here, like in a corner, they'll never make their way around the corner. And basically, you're safe. Just because they can't reach you. But that at least works. And they go towards you, and it's not a ton of extra code that doesn't make any sense to me. So that's why that works that way. For everybody that wasn't asking questions. Yeah. I don't know why this is not... If below node is air, it's supposed to be dropping it. Unless, is that not being dropped fast enough because then we have this at velocity here? I don't know. Because it looks like it should be dropping it to the ground. I'm not really sure why that's not. Oh. Well, below position would probably help if the position below it was below it. Oh, no, because I'm doing a vector subtract, so that is correct. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that's not working. I'll figure it out at some other point, some other time. Yes, so let's see. The one game I couldn't play, this Ghost Crypt game. It's a multiplayer game. And every single time I have tried... Man, why is there this goofy little spot above my head that shows up? Oh. There we go. Every single time I've tried to play this, there's been nobody online. So I can't do a review on this game. So, I don't know. It seems kind of interesting. But you need, like, I think 10 people to play it or something crazy. That's what I read from someplace. Oh, maybe I can just try with the golden trophy. You need at least 2 players to start a game. Okay, well, where did I read 10? I thought somebody said 10. But the problem is, with only 2 players, of course, you can't really play a game when there's only 2 players because you have 1 ghost and you have 1 explorer. And you need more than that for the game to actually work. I mean, it will technically work, but there's no game to it at that point because there's only 2 players. So yeah, you can go around and you can pick up these things, which I don't know what these things are. And then you can pick up treasures off the floor, which this I thought was kind of a genius. You can pick treasures up and then you put them into your inventory. And you get money for that? And I had expected initially, and this was I don't know what that yellow thing's supposed to be. And this is a mistake on my part. I thought it was going to be like a Tetris thing. So once you completed a whole row in your inventory, it would clear the items out, and then you could collect more. No, that's not how it works, sadly. Why am I not finding any more items? There should be items everywhere. Where are they? Oh, this is disappointing. So yeah, there's like these ghost finders and explorer finders, and they'll look towards ghosts and explorers, which I don't know if that's actually working because the game's not actually running. I think I have a dead pixel on my screen. Oh, never mind. Just a bit of dirt. Well, that's good. These screens are only 3 years old. They can have dead pixels in them. That'd be a shame. Actually, one of them does have a dead pixel. It's right here. Nope, take that back. That's not a dead pixel. That's just some dirt. I could have sworn I had a dead pixel on one of these monitors. Oh, well, that's the cost of having 3 monitors, I guess. Twice the likelihood of a dead pixel, right? If there's 3 times as much area, which isn't entirely true because they're not all the same size monitors or same resolution. I don't know why I'm not finding any treasures. This is really disappointing. Where's that room full of sand? This will be a room full of sand. Does the map change from game to game? I don't know. I don't know. But I did have somebody... Oh, here's another treasure. I did have somebody who volunteered... A strawberry, okay. Who volunteered to do a multiplayer game with me. So I don't know if he was working on this, Mr. E. But, yeah, 2 people is really not enough for this game. Because you'd have 1 ghost and 1 explorer. And, like, well, I would know he's the ghost. He would know I'm the explorer. So what? Then it's just whoever finds the other one first? Like, that's not really much of a game. It's like playing tag with 2 people, you know? It's like, you're the only choice. It's not much of a game of tag. Okay, well, I don't know why there's so few treasures here. So this thing's looking at me, I guess. And this thing says it is a Doesn't say what it is. Okay. Well, it's a thing and it looks at me. This thing also looks at me. So if we triangulate the position between the two, which we can only see one at a time, we can figure out right where I am. But see, then you have these things. Oh wait, these are trapped ghosts and explorers. Never mind. Switch to ghost team. Switch to... I thought I could place these doodads so I could find people. I don't know. I can evidently place torches. I don't know what the benefit of that is. And I have this tool, which I think a ghost, if they're in this area, will become visible. And then I don't know if I punch them or what I do specifically, but somehow I can then trap the ghost. Or if I have to use... Oh, it stays up? Interesting. Do I have to use one of these to then trap it or something? I have no idea. Can I just steal all of these? Oh, that'd be cool. Can I steal this? Can I steal this? No. Can I turn this thing off? I can't. Also, I'm suffocating. I don't know why I am suffocating. But I am suffocating. Hello, Explorer. Every time I punch it, it says Hello, Explorer. Okay. I guess that means I'm an explorer? Although I'm not really playing the game because it's just me. But yeah, this was the last entry. Couldn't make a video on it because I had nobody to play with. I think that might wrap this stream up. Because that was my entry. Oh, I suppose closing thoughts. We could do some close... Oh, is this a light from a ghost that's broken somehow? That'd be wild. I think that's what this is. I think it's a broken light. Anyway, closing thoughts. Two small gripes. I don't know if gripes is the right word. Two annoyances. I don't know if annoyance is the right word either. Two things. We'll just go with two things. And the first, I understand why they did it, but man, was it irksome. The game needs to be named, or the mods and everything have to be named game name, mod name. So that ended me with, let's just switch back over to this so we can take a look. If I could find this. There we go. So that ended me with beautiful names. Let me just find something that has nodes in it. Items. Here we go. So I abbreviated. I didn't know if this was going to be allowed. So I was a little worried that my game was just going to get rejected because this isn't the game name. But I ended up abbreviating. So the game was called Robot Operator. And it got abbreviated onto Rob_OPR. And then everything's in this one mod called Base. So Base. The reason it's called Robot Operator is because that's what it was originally going to. It was going to be a completely different game to start with. It was going to be a... How would we define this? It was going to be a game where you were responsible for shipping packages. Gathering and shipping packages, pretty much. So you were going to be using robots, or a robot at least, to travel through a warehouse and pick packages from off of pallet racking. I was going to use the pallet racking that I built for, well, it's on my, in our midst game, trader, whatever. I was going to use that pallet racking. You were going to be using the robot to pick stuff from the racking and bring it back. There ended up being some issues with me not knowing how to make certain things work, and things going to take too much time to figure out how to do. So rotated from that to something else, but I don't remember what that other thing was now. Some kind of like a search and rescue, I think. That fell through, and then I came upon this. So the title's really not great for what the game is, but once I picked the title, I was stuck with the title because I couldn't change the title without having to rename literally every single item, every single texture. There's only one sound, so that wouldn't have been a big deal. Every single mesh. Everything would have had to be renamed, and I don't even know if that would work because the Git repository already had a different name. So would I have to delete the Git repository and create a new Git repository with everything? Yeah. that was annoying. And then I discover, once the jam's over, and looking at the internal names of everybody else's games, that nobody actually followed that rule. So that was cool. I'm glad that was a rule that we just all chose to ignore. I mean, I guess. I also had to spend like the first, I shouldn't say I had to, but I did spend the first couple days just trying to figure out a title, because that was the most important thing. Can't make a game if you don't have a title, if everything has to be named after the title. So that annoyed me. But everybody had to deal with it to some degree, I suppose. So it's whatever. The second thing, and this may have just been my fault. Let me see if the site is still up. I would think so. I was under the impression, and again, this may have been entirely my fault, that my game had to be submitted and cleared by the 21st. So December 21st, development ends, rating begins, right? That was, did I say September? December 21st. That was a Thursday. So I thought my game had to be uploaded and approved by Thursday, which is why my deadline was the 19th, which is when I did do it. But then I seen one or two games that popped up like 3 or 4 days after the deadline onto the content database. I'm like, well, wait a minute. How are these games even eligible to win if the deadline's over? Development ends, rating begins. That made me think the game had to be published. Maybe I just misunderstood, and maybe I actually had until the 21st to submit it. I don't know. The schedule here, I think, could have used some clarification on that. Oh, and then the biggest gripe, I thought January 1st is what his results tallied and announced, and we didn't have them until, 3 days ago or something? It wasn't even that long ago. It's like 2 days ago. Yesterday. No, I think it was Thursday. January 1st. I kept refreshing that page. I was like, what's going on here? And then the second roll down, I was like, okay, well, it's got to be coming today for sure. It was supposed to be here yesterday. I'm like, why is this not done? I don't know why it wasn't done any sooner. But maybe next time don't put an exact date if the exact date's not actually when it's going to be finished with results. And I thought the results were all just community-based anyway, so isn't it just a script that runs through? So for anybody that didn't vote, you had a list of, what was it, 12 games? 10, 11 games? Something. How many ever games it was. And you basically just stacked them. So your favorite game you put at the top, least favorite at the bottom, and that's what everybody did. So you would think this would just dump a bunch of data, whatever my login is, Nathan.s, I believe. It would just say, this was my ratings, this is rated 10, this is rated 0. And everybody else's would be the same thing. You just dump them all into a spreadsheet, or maybe not a spreadsheet, whatever you're using, and you just run an average. I don't understand why that took so long. Maybe the back end wasn't developed as well as it should have been, and so everything had to be manually entered into a spreadsheet to get, or maybe everything had to be manually averaged? I don't know. Because if you just CVS, you dump it in a spreadsheet, and you have everybody's names up top, games running down the side, or vice versa, names down the side, games up top, and you just go to a column, and you do, I forget what the average is. I think just AVG. So you do AVG, parenthesis, we'll say B2 to B12. Actually, I think you have to do equals AVG, parenthesis, B2 colon B12, close parenthesis, and then just gives you the average of that whole column instantly. That's the beauty of spreadsheets, man. Love them. They're so good. Except for when people try to do too much in them. But, yeah, I don't know. I felt like it took way too long to get the results. But I digress. It doesn't matter. I didn't win anyways. Boo-hoo. No, that's all right. I probably should have tried for something a little different. But, it is what it is. It was still a good time. I do have... This isn't anything to deal with the game jam. This is just I don't know if I want to say an issue, but a problem I might have. So, oh boy, this is what? Oh, this is my actual level. I shouldn't be playing on here. This is going to mess stuff up. This also could mess stuff up, but not as much. So this has nothing to do with the game jam, but if I want to do future levels to this, I don't actually know how to do that. Because, again, I would be on the other level, but I don't want to screw things up. So I have levels built, and I want to make changes to the level. I don't know if I can just redo the mod gen or how any of that works. So that's something I have to figure out. So new levels might take a while. I don't know how that's actually going to work at all. Who won? That is an excellent question. And you know what? It doesn't actually... Oh, wait, yes, it does. Winners. Citadel won first place, which I will say, Citadel was quite fun. I didn't care for the whole parkour jumping at the beginning of it. I didn't understand what the point of any of that was. And for any of you who watched the video, I cheated through most of that and just stacked things up because I wasn't going to waste 2 hours trying to jump across some goofy things for something that did nothing for the game. Yeah, I didn't understand why any of that was there. But that was first place. It was a very good game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Second place was the Velvet Crystal, which again had, in my opinion, way too much parkour. For those of you who have been long-time subscribers, you know that I am no good at parkour in Minetest or probably any other video game. IRL, I do rather enjoy climbing and jumping and running. So I'd probably be better at it, but I'm not looking to break a wrist or a leg or a hip or my skull. So I stick to safe things, not jumping on posts 100 feet in the air with spikes on the ground that'll impale me and kill me if I miss. So yeah. Velvet Crystal, again, had too much parkour in my opinion. But gameplay was quite fleshed out. It worked well. I do recall there being some issue. What was it? Oh, I could go back and I could get a second wand. That was the issue. But then I couldn't replay through it, which I guess makes sense. It's not really a huge issue. It just, the game didn't like kick you out once you, or did it? Did it? I do remember there being some timer telling you how long it took you to beat the game. But I don't know if it actually kicked you after that. I don't recall. And then third place was the Unexpected Gambit, which was the chess game, which, according to somebody in the comments, and I'm not saying they're wrong, I did actually, in fact, get checkmated when I lost, but it cleared the game board so quickly, like instantly almost. I had no time to see what that move was that even checkmated me. So I didn't care for that. But otherwise, it was quite good. So that was third place. There is a results spreadsheet, but I think that's... Oh, no, it's a Google document. Oh, cool. Let me drop this in the chat. There's a whole spreadsheet with all of the... That was not what I wanted to click on. There's a whole spreadsheet with all of the... Have I heard of Prosperous Universe? No, can't say as that I have. Let me take a quick look at this thing here. So I don't know. Unique reviewers. Oh, this is over the years. So in 2021, there were 43 reviewers. 2022 was only 16, but we had judges in 16. 2023 was all community, 49. Something doesn't seem right on this chart. Oh, I'm looking at the axes wrong. Not that you can see the chart, so you don't know. Total entries, we went from 25 in 21, 13 last year, 14 this year, so I guess that's good. Total reviews, though, 2021, 257. 2022, only 74 reviews. 2023, 554 reviews. That is a lot of reviews. Nice work, everybody that did reviews. I don't think I actually made any reviews on the content database because I was doing video reviews. And then we have all of this stuff here. We have notes. I don't know. It's a lot of data. Weighted average, unweighted average, differences, average ranks. I guess it was 14 entries. Intervention. Oh, and everything's linked to the content database. That's neat. Intervention I didn't play because it was a late entry, so it shouldn't have been allowed. So I didn't even I don't even know what the game was, but I didn't play it. So I was like, well, this game didn't exist when everything else showed up, so it didn't meet the deadline. I'm not reviewing it. I guess only 30% of votes counted for that, which is good. I personally wouldn't have counted any votes, but it doesn't really matter too much because they came in second to last. So, although I suppose had more of the votes counted, they would have came in higher? I don't know. I came in 26th. No, wait. Not 26th. 9th. 26 is the column number. Somehow, What Were You Expecting beat me out, which I don't know how. There was no game there. That was when you literally punched a switch and then just a bunch of chat messages. It was like, there's no game. I don't know how that could beat me. Veil of the Unknown, I didn't understand that game, but somebody else managed to play it for like 30 minutes and do stuff, and then they fell and died, which is sad. Citadel came in first again, Velvet Crystal second, Unexpected Gambit third, Shadow Forest fourth. That was that I thought was actually quite good. There wasn't too much parkour. It took me way too long to realize that I was just supposed to run from the enemies instead of fighting the enemies. MineOS, or Minius as I called it, because he didn't put a space in it. And if you wanted to call it MineOS, there should have been a space there, or an underscore or something. That somehow scored fifth, which there was no game there at all. I don't understand how that could score so high. Tech demo, very impressive. Very impressive. I will grant you that. Quite impressive for a tech demo. For a game, what was the game? There was no game. And that was the one where there was still an inventory screen. You could open your inventory. I'm like, what? Why does this exist? Why is there an inventory screen on something that there's no game? So I don't know. I don't think that should have scored that high. There was no game to it. But again, it wasn't in one of the top three, so there was no prize. So what does it matter? Yeah. Some of these low-scoring ones, Wisdom Check, there was no game there. You just punched 3 different nodes. That was boring. Fill the Void, it was just a map gen with an ABM. There was nothing you did on that one. Air Game, I didn't even understand. There was literally nothing. You just fell forever. So that was pointless. Intervention, that's the one I didn't play, so I have no idea what that was. Devious Licks, was that like an actual thing? I don't know if that was an actual like TikTok thing that was going on at some point. I don't use TikTok, so I don't know. But yeah, that was that. That was the scoring. It's all right there in the chat if you want to check out the notes. And then of course you can download everything from content database, or you can even just get it from here. Which this is how I went and downloaded everything. So if anybody is, if anybody's like, well, why did you not know this or not know this? Because this is literally what I had to go off of. So, wait, how is this thing sorted? Why is Shadow Force on the 9th page? But then... Oh, wait. Did I already pass it up? No, it was right there. But Wisdom Check is on the 2nd page. Air Game is on the 1st page. Why? What is the sorting criteria used for this? This doesn't make any sense. Does this not take into any account any of the rating on the content database? I don't know. But anyways, if I could, that was page 9, right? If I get back to, here we go. The force has been overrun by the shadows who've cursed it with eternal darkness. You're the wizard of light. You're the only hope to break the curse. Like that really makes me realize I should improve my descriptions or wherever these things are coming from, because yeah, a lot of these games, I was like, okay, this really tells me nothing about what I'm supposed to be doing in this game. Like Ghost Crypt, I didn't even realize this was a multiplayer game when I recorded 10 minutes worth of gameplay. And then I think I ran let me just pull this up. So that's Citadel. Here we go. So I played this, and I was like, okay, cool. Tells me I'm playing on map 03 Big Room. Okay, nothing here so far is telling me this is multiplayer only. Nothing in the content database told me this is multiplayer only. So I'm like, okay, we got coins. What's going on here? I have no idea. Going through looking at all these items. Nothing here tells me this is a multiplayer only. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Start playing around with these different objects. It says need at least 2 players start a game. I'm like, okay, I didn't realize this was a multiplayer game. And that was after 10 minutes of recording. And then, of course, when you pull up help, it does tell you, no, this is a multiplayer game. You need at least 2 players to start a match. Game will automatically end if there's not enough players present on both teams. I'm like, oh, I had no idea that this was a multiplayer game from the content database, which was the only thing I had going into these. So maybe that's just a lesson to everybody that whatever this text is, we should really do a better job of putting information into. Or have something on a splash screen when you start it for the first time that gives you that information. Because, yeah, like, some of these I was just like, I don't understand what's going on here. Devious looks. Your teenager from Georgia is a devious looks challenge at his school. Okay, well, because I don't know what the devious looks challenge is, this tells me nothing. You know what I mean? So many of these. An operating system. Okay, that explains what the game is? No, not really. But anyways, I digress. That's enough griping and mumbling and moaning. Hour and 40 minutes. Not bad, not bad. I was expecting to only go for about an hour or so. So I think we're going to wrap things up here. Thanks for watching. We should be coming back to the regular scheduled programming of, I don't know if we're going to be doing it weekly again for this year or if it's still going to be a bi-weekly thing. We'll see how it goes during the winter time here when there's not so much to be doing out in the yards and stuff. We might be coming back to a weekly schedule. Also, I feel like there's probably a lot of new mods that could be reviewed because, well, all December I was busy working on the game jam, so I didn't have time to do mod reviews then. And then, there's just, I would assume, a lot of new mods to explore. So yeah, check back soon for those.